Hi, good morning students. Welcome back for the session 4, chapter number 2, input and output memory devices. In previous session 3, we discussed about some output devices like printers, as well as some categories of the printers, impact and non-impact printers, speakers, plotters we discussed. In this session, we are going to discuss about memory devices. So how computer will store the documents or data, programs and everything, and based on which unit that will be stores, like that we are going to discuss about this. So especially memory devices, if we are coming to the computer means, usually we will coming to two words, bits and bytes. See, the memory devices, it stores the programs data which are required by the CPU. Of course, computer will stores the data, which stores the program, which stores the data, and everything which is required by the CPU. Which if we are required by the CPU, it will stores. See here, kinds of the memory, if you are coming to types of the memory, if you are coming means, here we are having two categories, primary and secondary type of the memory. We'll discuss later. Then if you are coming to the major part of the memory, these two words, bits and bytes, that is what we call as binary digits. See here, first two characters from the bits, that is BI, and the digits, so binary digits BI and TS, binary digits, that is what we called as bits. So we will these two numbers will be for the computer machine level language we are using for the understanding purpose of the computer. These two digits are used for the communication of the computer. But whenever we are coming to the knowledge about bits and bytes, usually we will call 8 bits is equals to 1 byte. Like that, how the formation will be occurs. See here, then 8 bits will be the formation. 2 to the power of 10 will give the 1024 bits. Kilobits. Okay, based on this basic method, we have a chance to calculate the memory in computer. So we have some list in our textbook. We have some list. Based on this list, we will call some names. Nowadays, until I think as per our knowledge, 1024 gigabyte is equals to 1 TB. This is the limitations we know at this moment. But in future, that terabyte will be extended into petabyte, like that exabyte, zettabyte, 1 yottabyte, bronato and geobyte. So 2 to the power of 100 is equals to 1024 bronato type byte is equals to 1 geobyte. It will be the last given measurement of the memory. But basic, if you are coming to the initial stages, 2 to the power of 10 is 1024 bytes is equals to 1 KB, 1 kilobyte. And 1024 1 KB is equals to 1 megabyte. 1024 megabyte is equals to 1 gigabyte. 1024 gigabyte is equals to 1 terabyte. Like that, the memories will be doubling. We have a chance to store the data by these units. So this is a general description about how the computer will store the data by these units. Usually byte, bit are the units for the calculation purpose for the memories. Okay. Then later we are going to discuss about what is primary memory, what is secondary memory, what are all its categories. Coming to the first category of the memory, that is primary memory. So in a primary memory, it is a main memory, also called as main memory. It stores the program data and users requirement based on that requirement of the CPU. So this is a main memory and fastest memory also. It will support it by the main devices. So we have some characteristics of the primary memory. Let us discuss one by one. That is, primary memory is also called as main memory. Of course, primary memory, the another name we are calling that is a main memory. It stores a data program required by the CPU. As I said earlier, it stores which kind of data? It will be required by the CPU. Programs, data, whatever that one. Then CPU communicates directly with the main memory. With this primary RAM and ROM or a primary memory, it will be directly communicate. Okay, and also the high speed memory. Primary memory is a type of the high speed memory, and primary memory only it will support for the primary devices. Main devices it will be supported, either RAM or ROM. We'll discuss. Then two examples for the two types of the primary memories: RAM and ROM. Okay, random access memory, read only memory are the two types of the primary memories we are using. Now let us discuss about what are the classifications of the RAM and ROM. What are the properties? See, dear students, after primary memory, we have two categories in the primary memory, RAM and ROM. Now we are going to discuss about some properties of RAM and ROM with some examples. See here, if I come into the first category, read only memory, ROM, name as it is telling, read only memory. See, information is pre-recorded, very importantly, information is pre-recorded into the RAM chip. So here, before memory, before storing the memory, here information is pre-recorded, already recorded. Pre means before, pre-recorded into the ROM chip. And also, whatever you stored in the ROM, that cannot be erased, but can read it. We don't have a chance to erase, but we have a chance to read. So that is one thing. And when a computer is switched off, in especially ROM, data will be not erased. Data will not erased, stores permanently. Whatever the data you stored before switched off of the computer, when you switched off the computer, the data will not erase. It will be stored permanently. That's why this type of the memory is what we called as non-volatile in nature. Non-volatile, it will be not delete automatically. So that is what we called as non-volatile in nature. So that is non-volatile memory, and read-only memory stores the critical programs but boost the computer. With the help of these programs, with the help of this ROM, it will boost the computer. We have some examples for the ROM that are PROM, EPROM and EEPROM. I will abbreviate these RAM categories. See, programmable read-only memory. Programmable read-only memory, PROM. Next, electrically, okay, EEPROM. Electrically erasable, programmable read-only memory. Erasable, programmable, read-only memory. So these are all some categories of the ROM. So PROM, EPROM and EEPROM are the types of the RAM. For your examination, they may ask, what are all the categories of the ROM? We have the three categories. We have the three types of the ROM. PROM, programmable, electrically erasable and erasable programmable read-only memory are the three categories. Then if you are coming to the second type, somewhat different than ROM, that is RAM, random access memory. Random access memory. Here, the main memory users can write and read. Yes, here users can write and read, because in ROM this is a pre-recorded, but here no. Users have a chance to write on it. So that it will be support to the users to write the data as well as they read the data, and accessible to the users. Then memory location can access it in random or directly. In the especially RAM, whenever we are looking for the memory location, it will store either random or directly, both method that will be stores. And compared to the ROM, whenever we switched off the computer, it doesn't erase any store of the data, stored data, it will be saved permanently. But here, that's not a matter. Here, when switched off a computer, content is erased. content is erased. That's why these types of the computers, memory is what we called as volatile in nature. Whenever you switch off the computer, automatically the data will be erased. What you stored in RAM, that is a temporary. Here that is a permanent. It is a temporary store. It is a permanent store. Like that, it is a volatile memory. Volatile means when you are after completing of the work, when you switch off the computer, the memory will be goes off. Then it stores, but not a permanent. Data set will be stores, but not a permanent. And examples for random access memory, EDO RAM and SRAM, DRAM. SRAM and DRAM. So for the dynamic random access memory, static random access memory, EDO, extended data output random access memory are the categories of the RAM, random access memory. If they ask for examination, right, the types of the examples for the RAM means these three. Okay, EDO RAM, SRAM and DRAM. These are all the some categories of the RAM and ROM and its properties. Now we are going for the secondary types of the memory devices. What are all the secondary memory devices we have and how to write these secondary memory devices, definitions and its properties. So if I coming to the next category of the memory devices, that is secondary storage devices. So in secondary storage devices, compared to the primary memory, the size of the secondary storage memory devices are larger in size. But when you are comparing the price, it is a very less. Hence, it's very popular, and we have so many secondary devices we have. Let us discuss what are all the properties of the secondary storage devices. See, it is also called as storage backup devices. Secondary memories are also called as storage backup devices. Storage backup means what? Storage backup means if we have a primary data, if we have a main data, if I want to copy, because in some situation, either knowingly or unknowingly, some main part of the data can be erased. That time, if we have a duplicate data on some other devices, that will be very helpful because we didn't lost any data, even that is erased also. So that is what we called as backup. So this will be act like a storage backups. Okay, and also secondary memories normally are very slow compared to the primary memory. Secondary storage devices are little bit slow than primary memories. When we are comparing the speed, the secondary storage devices are little bit slow. And also data cannot access directly, but in primary memory we have a chance through ROM, we have a chance to access the data directly. But in secondary storage memory, we don't have a chance to access the data directly because we have some other methods to access the data. That's the one difference. And the size of the secondary memory devices is large, but price is less. Of course, if you are coming to the primary memories, RAM and ROM, we have some limitations. Then you coming to the secondary storage devices like hard disk, floppy disk, pen drives, memory cards, CDs and DVDs, Blu-ray disc nowadays, Blu-ray disc. So when you are comparing all these secondary storage devices compared to the primary memory, the storage size is very, very large, and it is economical also. It has a less price comparing to the primary memory. This is the major properties of the secondary storage devices. Now we will discuss what are all the some secondary storage devices we have. See, example, hard disk. In computer we are having a chance to store the data. Hard disk, magnetic tapes, previously we are using magnetic tapes, CD and DVD, compact disc, digital versatile disc, pen drives, memory cards, external hard disk, Blu-ray disc, all these devices we are treated as a secondary storage devices. Now let us discuss one by one secondary storage devices, how these devices will work out, all its properties and all these things. See, dear students, after a secondary storage device properties and a definition, we are coming to the first secondary storage device in our computer, very, very important device, that is a hard disk. So what are all the properties of the hard disk? Let us discuss. Hard disk is one secondary storage devices used to store the data for the user's requirement. And with the help of the hard disk, we have a chance to store the data either permanently or temporarily, because it will support both. Until users will delete the data will not erased automatically. So this is the major property of the hard disk. Hence, this will support both permanently as well as temporarily. If you don't want, you have a chance to delete at any time. But no, if you want to store permanently, yes, you have a chance to store the data until you delete. So that is why the major property of the hard disk. Then, so hard disk, it is in a magnetic disk, stores the data. It is with the help of the magnetic strips we are using stores the data. And direct access storage medium. Hard disks are the direct access storage mediums and used for the accessing. And rotating surfaces are used to store. Rotating surfaces means whenever writing the data, the disks are rotating with the help of that motors. That disks are rotating. On that time, the data will be added to the kinds of the disks. So data is stored on the series of concentric rings. Concentric rings means, I will show you one hard disk just diagram. See here, assume this is one hard disk, dear students. Inside of this hard disk, you have a chance to see these kinds of one circle. With this of the circle, here some concentric rings are there. So like this. So with the help of these rings, we have a chance to store the data. See here, after that, tracks and sectors are the storage type of this hard disk, dear students. See, this is what we called as concentric rings. These rings are called as tracks. Okay, these rings are called as tracks, and each track is subdivided by like this. See here. This is what we called as sector. So each concentric rings is divided into some type of that part is what we called as, see here, this part is what we called as concentric circle. In between the concentric circle, somewhat some presented information is there. That is what we called as sector. Tracks and sector. With the help of this only, the hard disk will store the data. The concentric rings are called as tracks, and in between the concentric rings, the space is what we called as sector. Combination of these two, the hard disk will store the data, and some usually nowadays we are using a word. If the device is not working properly, just format the device, just format your phone like that. What is format? See here. Arrangement of tracks and sectors is called as format. Arrangement of tracks and sector, it is what we call as format. If you format the disk, all the information will be erased. And when we are coming to the tracks and sector, we have one more technology used to store the data. That is in the forms of pits and glands. Pits and glands. See here, pits means that is in the data section, that is in the forms of lower. Bits means that is a pits, that is a 0. Glands means 1. How that will be, will tell pits and glands are zeros and ones means. See, assume this is a one graph. So here the data will be stored in like this. So data will be stored with the peak levels of the glands, means that will be stored by 1, and that should be in the forms of pits. Pits means, so that is a lower data, so that kinds of the data will be stored by 0. This is a one format for pits and glands. The tracks and sectors will store the data in the forms of binary digits, because you know the concepts of binary digits. Computer will understand only these two digits for a communication. That is what we call as 0 and 1. How 0 and 1 will be stored in the hard disk means, that is in the forms of pits and glands technology. The pits and glands technology, pits will always store the 0 and glands will always store the 1. Pit means lower level of the data. If you want the higher level, that will goes for the glands. Pits and glands. Usually we will call these names for the pits and glands. Pits and glands, higher and lower levels of the data will be stored. So this is the technology we are following in the hard disk. So this is in a one hard disk example. So in between the hard disk we have a concentric circles. That circles are called as tracks. In between the tracks we have the sectors. This is part of the information. With the help of bits and glands, binary digits 0 and 1, we have a chance to store the data. This is about hard disk. Then we are going to the one more secondary storage device, that is CD and DVD. CD and both the same format. Hard disk, CD and DVD are the same format, but little bit differences are there by the storage capacity. If you are coming to the two optical devices of the memory devices, CD and DVD. Compact disk and digital versatile or video disk are the two optical devices we are used to store the data. The specifications, the CD, compact disk if abbreviation. So laser beams are used to store the data. As I said earlier, when they were discussing about the printer matter, that time we told laser beams are used to store the print the document. Like that here also, laser beams are used to store the data or print the documents on that CD. And spinning disks are used. Spinning disks means, so these are also devices. It looks like a CD and a DVD. So very identical devices. Both devices are looks very similar, but we have some slight differences with the size and some physical color. So in this particular, these two types of the CDs and DVDs, usually CDs are silver in color. Silver related color, and it usually DVD that is in a blue color, blue shaded colors, DVDs, and with the help of that color identification, yes, we have a chance to categorize whether that is in a CD or a DVD. And even then also, the maximum capacity of the CD is, it may be in around 700 MB, but if you're coming to the DVD, it should be in around that is 4.7 GB, and that is for 700 MB. So huge difference between CD and DVD. It's very limited size, 700 MB, 4.7 GB. Since these are all the two optical devices, if you are coming to the differences between CD and DVD, around 700 MB will be the maximum capacity. When you are comparing to the same DVD with the CD, means 4.7 GB is the maximum capacity. Single layered disk, the same spinning disks are used. Here also laser beams are used to store the data. Almost all identical characteristics, but when we are coming to the size matters, capacity, storage capacity matter, CD will be around 700 MB and DVD will be, it will be in around 4.7 GB is the capacity of the DVD. So here also same technologies are used, pits and gland technology. Pits for depression type of the data, means lower type of the data, and gland is used for the flat level of the data. So same technology is also using. The same concentric circles are called as that is what we called as tracks. And in between the tracks, whatever the information that is stored, that is what we called as sectors. Same technology, same everything will be the same with the hard disk, but somewhat difference with the capacity. So, and one more, dear students, in addition to that one, nowadays we have a chance to see one more type of the disk, that is BD, Blu-ray disk. Okay, Blu-ray disk. As per our information, the Blu-ray disk will be having the same technology for the storage of the data, but when we are comparing the storage capacity, it should be around 25 GB. It should be around 25 GB to 50 GB. It will be supports the maximum capacity of the data. In minimum 25 to 50 GB data will be supported by these kinds of the disk. So these are all the differences. CD it's maximum around 700 MB. DVD it will be around 4.7 GB, and Blu-ray disk in nowadays in market it's available. If you just have a chance to see that one, just use the observe. That is having a capacity 25 GB to 50 GB capacity, that is Blu-ray disk. So these three are the optical devices: CD, DVD and Blu-ray disk. After devices like optical devices like CD, DVD, Blu-ray disk, and also some other devices like memory devices like hard disk and all these things, we have one more last memory, primary memory, that is a cache memory. The name is what we called as cache memory. So compared to the physical memories RAM and ROM, it is in a high speed memory. Cache memory, if we want to define, means cache memory is in a high speed memory. It will be located in between the RAM and the CPU. So what is the cache memory then? Why we are using this cache memory? Whenever we want to require the high speed, the cache memory will be operated with the help of that speed. Okay, then cache memory, it has some levels, level 1 and level 2 usually. So level 1 having its capacity, it should be around 256 kilobytes, and level 2 it has an around 6 MB of the capacity. But in generally we have one more level, but that is not a visible level, that is an invisible level. It has a capacity of the 12 MB. The major property of the cache memory, that is speed. So this is also, we have a chance to act like a primary memory. That's why cache memory, RAM and ROM will treat it as one type of the primary memory. So by this topic, dear students, we are concluding the memory devices as well as input and output memory devices chapter also. So in this chapter, very briefly, now I will give some what are all the things we discussed, remembering points. I will just go through that one by one. So in this chapter, we discussed some input devices definition, devices like a keyboard, mouse, and output devices like monitor, printer, plotters, speakers, and some memory devices like primary memory, RAM and ROM, cache memory, and secondary memory devices like, that is hard disk, CD, DVD, okay, Blu-ray disc, etc. So all these devices are the very important devices for the storage purpose, for reading purpose, for writing purpose of the computer. As we discussed in the chapter number 1, black diagram of the computer, it has the 3 main units: input unit, processing unit, and storage unit. But in this chapter, you learned what are all the input unit and devices, what are all the output unit and its devices, and what are all the some storage devices, memory part in the processing. So these things are the very elementary concepts of the computer. So go through this one. Now we are forwarding the notes for this particular chapter, and also you have to write the keynotes and send it to the groups. So if you have any doubts or clarification, contact with me through the WhatsApp number. Okay, thank you.